everybody, MilPro again. You know, I'm big on fresh breath, and all of you should be as well, especially for those WROL situations. You don't want your breath giving you away to the enemy or someone else, and you want to stay kissable because it is going to be WROL and you're going to need a mate. So, when you're thinking fresh breath, think Altoids, which brings me to my topic. Several years ago I went through a survival course. It was a military course, and they essentially taught us that everything you need for your survival, bare minimum, bare bones survival, can fit into an Altoids tin, a regular size Altoids tin. Now this was assuming that you had a knife or a multi-tool that you carried with you all the time, because soldiers and Marines are expected to have some type of tool like that with them. If not, they'll have a bayonet or similar devices, so, or your K-bar for the Marines. But you're expected to have some type of a knife anyway, so it didn't involve knives or anything like that. It was just the other items that you may need for your basic survival. And there are types of survival candles, emergency candles, that will fit into an Altoids tin, fishing equipment, fire starting equipment, things like that. So it was designed for military type people, or survivalists or adventurers, to have a small survival kit that they could carry with them all the time. Now it got me to thinking though, because while I was explaining this course to someone else, I reached into my pocket and pulled out my Altoids minis, and I thought, what can I fit in an Altoids mini tin as a mini survival kit? So I thought I would give it a try, and I just selected some random items that I thought might come in handy in a shit hits the fan WROL bare bones survival scenario, and decided I would figure out what I could fit into an Altoids mini. So here it is. Now, open this up. Sorry, the string is sticking out there. Now, what I concentrated on was the ability to start a fire and find food. And I also put in some first aid considerations. But, first of all, this that I just pulled out, that's about 100 feet of 12-pound test fishing line. It's roughly 100 feet. I just measured it out by hand. But you're going to want to put it on a string, or put it on a stick or some sort of a spooling device, something small that will still fit in here. But I just wanted to show that that's 100 feet of 12-pound test fishing line, and it easily fits inside here along with all the other items. So this I didn't have in there yet because I wanted to show you. This is a sewing needle, and it's a sewing needle that's short enough to fit inside the Altoids mini tin, and the aperture on the needle, which you probably can't, maybe you can see in the video, 12-pound test fishing line fits through that. So in a pinch, if you need to sew yourself back up, you got a sewing needle and you can do it with your fishing line. Now what I've done is I took a piece of tape, because it's small and pointy and it's going to float around in there. Took a piece of tape, and I'm going to tape it to the lid right there, so I always know where it is, because this needle is going to be vital in the event of some severe first aid, so I don't want it to get lost and don't have to want to fish around to get it. So I'm just going to tape that right to the cover. Now, here's some various other items I have. Waterproof matches. You can put quite a few of them in here, actually, more than an entire box of waterproof matches inside this Altoids tin. But I also cut off the striking surface, because waterproof matches aren't strike anywhere matches. You're going to need a striking surface. So I just cut off a strip of it, and that's going in the kit along with the waterproof matches. Now, these clips, you've seen them at the office if you work in an office, unfortunately. They're paper clips, these fancy paper clips. You open these up this way, and you pinch them this way, and clamp things together. I didn't know how these might come in handy, but I'm assuming that the ability to clamp a couple of things together might come in handy no matter what. And if you're doing first aid on someone else and you need to sew up a lengthy cut, you can also pinch the skin together and clamp it with this to hold it closed while you do your stitching. So, could come in handy. I threw a couple of those in there. But what I also have, I'm using them to hold fish hooks and leads. These are the hooks that already have the leads attached to them. Okay. You can see these, you can buy these. They come like 5 or 6 for $1 at any sporting goods store. And I brought 2 hook sizes, like a medium size. I think these are number 6 and a number 4, I believe. But I just kind of picked those at random just to demonstrate. So I have 2 hooks and 2 leads in there. You could throw several of these. Many of them will fit in there as well. But I just threw a couple in there to show you. Now I also threw in several pieces of split shot. Okay, just dropped them into the tin. So there's several pieces of that in there. And that is your food source for your survival situation. And of course I've got, I think I have 9 waterproof matches in here as I go down. Now these could be, everything could be tied together, wrapped up in little bundles with small rubber bands or something like that. I didn't bother doing that for this demonstration. Now, paper clips. I know that seems weird. I have this office fetish on my survival gear, but no. Paper clips, you never know when they could come in handy because they're metal, and you know, these little strips of metal can be used for a variety of things, and it could also be used as a needle or a fish hook, I guess, if you had to, and if you lost all of your other things. But they can also be used to pick certain types of locks, and if you don't know how to do that, it might be something you want to look into learning, because you never know when that skill might come in handy. So down here in the bottom, I also put a couple of razor blades. Now I know this kit is assuming that you have a knife or a multi-tool or something like that, but a razor blade is something a little different than a knife. It can be used for cutting, for slicing. It can come in very critical if you're in a certain type of first aid situation. But if you happen to lose your knife or something else, you have a couple of backup blades that you could use for other things. But you never know, so I threw a couple of those in there. And you could, again, several of these fit in here very easily. And if you package these up in little tighter packages, you could fit a larger quantity of each one of those inside there. So, in this little Altoids Mini, I have fire, I have a source for food, and I have the bare minimum first aid considerations. Being able to sew myself back up if I get sliced open, and hopefully survive. But anyway, that's just a brief look at the Altoids Mini Survival Kit. Now, why don't you tell me what you can put in an Altoids Mini tin for a survival kit? I'm sure you guys can come up with much more creative things than this. I really, literally just thought of this about 10 minutes before I turned the camera on and threw all these things in there. So, do a video response, show me what you can do with your Altoids Mini, and see if we can come up with some nifty little ideas. Now, another thing is, these Altoid Mini tins are so small that you can, if you buy screws, sometimes little nuts and washers and things like that, they come in little tiny Ziploc pouches. And a lot of your accessories that come with things that you buy to put together yourself, pieces of furniture or electronics gear, come in these little Ziploc pouches. And it's perfect to fit one of these inside, Ziploc that closed, and now it's a waterproof Altoids Mini Survival Kit. So, let me know what you can come up with. Put your own kit together, make a video, do a video response, I'll approve it, and let's see how creative we can get. Till next time, it's MilPro Akron. Train safe, train hard, stay alive.